Yes, what a memory, isn't it? Very unlike me. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, just a few words. I won't delve into the legality of this saga, the Lowell saga, too much. I will take the political angle. The whole case rested on the conflicting, confusing and contradictory elements in the European law, Article 10 and Article 17, diametrically opposed. Now, Justice Mr. Quintano cited the Anne Webber report, which Emmy did not delve into. I read the report with great care and attention. It's a 105-page report which encapsulates the various contradictions and elements in the law. I've read it. And all I can say, I'm not a legal expert like Emmy, all I can say is that Justice Ansimus, Justice Quintano, the Constitutional Court, had ample space, an ocean of space to exonerate us. But it didn't. But it had all the space in the world, precisely because, since Justice Quintano mentioned the Webber report, precisely because Anne Webber says that politicians have even more ample freedom to speak their minds, because politics are the destiny of peoples. And if politicians are shackled, muzzled, then obviously we're heading towards tyranny. So politicians, according to the very Anne Webber report cited by the Constitutional Court, bestows greater freedom of speech to politicians. Now, having said that, I am a politician. I didn't garner 70,000 votes like a political picayune, an utter failure who wasted 9 years of the political life in Malta, pleading, supplicating, begging for burden sharing, an utter failure. I'm not that kind of politician. I don't have 70,000 votes for having wasted the nation's life. I have a few thousand votes, but these few thousand votes are the conscious voters, those who understand the real issues at stake, those who see this nightmarish future looming ahead of us for our children, our progeny. It's those kind of voters that we have, and supporters who support us. And we cherish those voters because we know the quality of those voters. So, as a politician, a modest politician, who speaks the truth, who says what he means and means what he says, I too am a politician. And so, I'm liberty too. I am entitled to even greater leeway in the realm of freedom of expression. Now, in Canada, just a few weeks ago, they repealed the wicked Section 13, a tyrannical piece of legislation where even on the internet, if you say something that, inverted commas, the mere possibility that it might offend somebody or create racial hate, lands you 6 years in prison. Would you believe it? And Canada went through this for years and years, some 8 years, I think. Scores of people were jailed for having written the most political opinions on the internet. Now, Canada repealed this Section 13 the other day, and Canada is fighting and winning. The people of Canada, real libertarians, not liberals, those tyrants, modern tyrants, they're the fascists. The liberals, they're the worst fascists. Canada is winning the battle for freedom of speech. In Malta, we are still fighting. Dr. Paul Fromm, a leading patriot in Canada, our equivalent to Dr. Remy Bedzina, who was instrumental in repealing this atrocious piece of legislation, along with Doug Christie, who unfortunately died a couple of weeks before the repeal sentence. Unfortunately, he missed it. Dr. Paul Fromm will be visiting us in Malta later on today because he follows us very, very closely, and he's our guest. He will come here and talk to the press. We'll inform you so that you will meet him as well. Now then, politics. The Prime Minister, our new Prime Minister, with whom there is great sympathy, I must say. This pushback policy, we said it at Safi, I mean, years ago, you know, it finally reached mainstream politics, but we said it at Safi, pushback. Somebody mentioned it now, and of course the whole media, the Jesuits, the NGOs, frustrated ugly women, enough to turn you gay, they all paid at him, you see. Now, the Prime Minister in Italy, and he mentioned it many, many times, and I consider this a political mistake. Let me explain. He says that Libya is the solution, if not part of the solution, he says. It's not the problem. No, 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 no. I beg to differ. Libya is the problem. Always has been the problem. They were never grateful for whatever we did for them. Well, since the gunboat date, oil, right down to the contempt they treat our politicians. Libya can't be the solution for one simple reason. Because the Libyans, as is their culture, are all from top to bottom on the take. How can you police the Libyan border, south border, when the police are on the take and they look the other way while the trucks are moving towards the Mediterranean? You have to be realistic, you see. One has to be realist in these matters. But Libya will never police its borders. Perché è una cosa culturale. They're all on the take. So, the solution is very simple. The solution is for Malta to establish open embassies in Somalia, Mali, Sudan. Not big embassies like our Brussels monstrosity that costs, no, just a room, a one-horse operation as we call it. You see, that's all we need, stamping passports. Passports come here, we put them in their pockets, off you go to Somalia, I've got a passport now. That's so simple. We open one-horse operation embassies in these countries, who, incidentally, now are not at war at all. Somalia has been recognized by the UNHCR, by America, Britain, France, Germany. They've got a boom, a building boom going on in Somalia. Why should we have thousands of Somalians here, scrounging, milking us, our welfare system, our free hospitals, operations costing thousands of pounds, equipment, free schooling when they never ever contributed a cent. This is the solution. Sudan, it's now north and south. There's no problem in Sudan. Why? Because they've divided the country. Why should we have Sudanese here? Mali, what's the problem with Mali? The French, just 500 Frenchmen pacified it. That's all. The Foreign Legion, it's pacified. Why should we have people from Mali here attacking the police, biting them like savages? Why should we have Malians here? So the solution is very simple. If the Prime Minister thinks that Libya is the solution, I'm afraid he is going to be disillusioned. Just like his predecessors in his own party, and even Gonzi, his son. The Prime Minister has been to Europe and delivered, described that speech. Now I can see it coming. Joseph Muscat will be taken around the EU Luna Park, up and down the slides, and round the merry-go-round. There will be a lot of talk, just like what happened with the present leader of the opposition. In fact, they already told our Interior Minister, don't worry, we're going to help Malta. When we meet again, after summer, you will see how we will help. And in the meantime, what's going to happen? In the meantime, it's exactly the same. Vecchio ritornello. Perché? Because the powers that be behind the scenes have decreed that Malta must be destroyed as quickly as possible. They have forgotten us, these people. They destroyed Britain, France, Germany, America, the Mexican invasion. They destroyed Spain, you name it. But they had forgotten tiny Malta. A big mistake, because Malta is a sacred island, you see. And out of this sacred soil sprung the idea of Imperium Europa. So they're in a panic, because they know that Malta can save Europe. We in Malta, if I and 2 or 3 others with me are elected at the MEP election, you see, it was the last hope for these people, yes, right? Naive people. It's the only hope, because once there, I will unify, Malta, not I, sorry, Malta will unify all these various patriotic forces in every country in Europe. We will unify them in a formidable force, Nova Europa, New Europe, and we will change this mercantile Europe. We will create an old Europe where the regions will be free, all the various regions, 300 of them. We are not being taken seriously by Europe, even a certain contempt. President Letta, in front of the Maltese delegation, to the astonishment of everybody, from a 15-minute speech, he spent 10 minutes of it moaning that some Lega Nord Garderoli described some minister as an orangutan. That was the object of the whole, not Malta, that sort of, first things first, it's this racist statement, you see? You see what it is? This is the obsession with these people. Our retiring ex-Prime Minister, Gonzi, he left the country in tatters, shambles, scandals, corruption, 5 billion, what is shown, 5 billion in debt, and he leaves, and what is troubling him? Breaking his heart. Oh, this racism of Malta, this racism. You see, it's unbelievable. It is unbelievable, this hypocritical age we are living in, you see. So, had the Prime Minister, our Prime Minister, carried on his plans and put those Somalians or whatever on those planes ready, they were ready on the tarmac, 90 hand-picked policemen were ready to take them down. By 4:30 in the afternoon, everything was ready. At 7, he lost his nerve. He lost his nerve. All the screaming, all the traitors in Malta, bayed, wanted his blood, you see. And he lost his nerve, and that's it. He missed the plane, now Prime Minister. Had he sent them as he intended to, he would be a hero by now, with the whole of Europe. It would have blown over, because Europe cannot afford to lose Malta. Can anybody in his sane mind think that Europe will lose Malta for a boatload of Africans? Can you imagine that? Malta is very important to Europe, you see. It's very important, geopolitically, everything. So it would have blown over, but he lost his nerve, and that's it. He lost this battle. So now he will have to pay the consequences. He will be taken for a ride. And just to conclude, gentlemen, Prime Minister, when asked, I think by some journalist, does he have anything to do with our banner, this one, he said, it's disgusting. This is what I've been told, because I haven't read it myself personally, but I think he said that. What's disgusting about this? The cross, the Maltese cross, that reminds us of that great siege where a handful of us resisted the Ottoman Empire and saved Europe. We saved Europe, as we are going to save it again if Imperium Europa is elected at the MEP election. What is disgusting about this banner, I asked the Prime Minister? Is it the red and white, our national colours? O tutto l'insieme, the whole lot? Any artist will tell you that that combination of those three colours is the strongest combination of colours that exists. Any artist would tell you that. So what's wrong with it? And somebody on the press, I don't know where, he said it looks like a svastika. I think it was a letter by some idiot on the Times of Malta, or opinion, I think, by an educated idiot, who said, it looks like the swastika. No, it doesn't look like the swastika. It looks like two swastikas, actually. Because the Maltese cross are two swastikas joined together, destroverse and sinistroverse. So it's two swastikas. And the swastika, for the information of all, for those who think they are educated, but all they have is a veneer of Reader's Digest education, the swastika is the oldest symbol known to man, 10,000 years old. In those times when men lived in attunement with nature, in those times with no pollution, where the skies were clear, and there was no Pepital Pipa on Charabanc every Friday, in those times people used to gaze at the stars and observe the swirling galaxies, you see, and that's how the swastika came to being. So what shall we do, I asked the Prime Minister? Act like the Taliban's, with a hammer in hand, and smash that unique, supremely unique Malta stone, that indented spiral here at the museum, because it's a proto-swastika. Proto. Shall we smash it? Or smash the bathrooms at the Roman villa, because they are a swastika design, you see? No, Mr. Prime Minister, we of Imperium Europa are very proud to have created this banner ourselves. We're very proud, and we can keep it. And we're going to keep it and treasure it. And people from all over the world are ordering it now, because they see it as a unifying banner, uniting all Europeans around the world. We are proud of it, and we're going to keep it. The Prime Minister can keep the Malta Labour Party emblem, that cross between a torch and a strawberry ice cream. That's all, gentlemen. Let's go. No, Europe? No. We don't betray Europe. They go back to their countries. They go back to their countries because they have the passport, because these people on the boats chuck their passports overboard. So we will have an embassy in Somalia and Sudan, stamping passport, Somalian passport, Sudanese passport. That's only on. Of course. They're free country. Listen, terrorism, 3,000 dead in America. Towers, Twin Towers. Do we have American refugees here? London, underground system, Jew. Spain, again. Everywhere, terrorism. Do we have refugees? Of course, an odd bomb here or there, these fuzzy-wuzzies in Somalia. Of course there might be a bomb explosion. It's a vast country, Somalia, you know. There might be, beyond the hills, some explosions. You use that as a pretext to, of all places in the world, come to a tiny rock in Malta, because you have a bunch of 50 traitors who welcome you and coddle you and shower you. Of course, it's a simple solution. A one-horse operation, please, if you could. A one-horse operation. You know, like the Canadian Mounted Police. It'll be a one-horse operation, isn't it, when he goes in search of some train robber or something. He's on his own. A one-horse operation, that's all. Yes, just some big passports. We'll send them back. And Europe can pay for it, of course, if they are so keen on helping us. That is the solution, not Libya. Libya will never be a solution because of its culture. It will take 100 years for the Libyans to catch up.
Dwar il-pushback, kif tajt speċi il-Prim Ministru, però jekk kien hemm deċiżjoni ta' Qorti Ewropea, kif tista' Malta?
Good question. Good question. Tell you what. Kibolla zbolla. Europe enacted these laws under pressure from, I won't mention it, I don't want to start another court case. You know who. So we adopted these tyrannical laws that fly in the face of hundreds of years of jurisprudence. When man liberated himself, he could challenge the authority of kings and so on. Well, these laws were enacted. They can be repealed, like Canadian Section 13. It's been repealed. That is why it's important for Imperium Europa, Norman Lowell, and 2 or 3 others with him to go to Europe, because we repeal these hateful laws. These are hate laws in the true sense of the word. So it's very important, because if we are elected, myself and 2 or 3 others with me, per proporzionalità con il territorio, we will be entitled by right to lead this group, Nova Europa. I've been to various conferences. I was told, you will lead the group, Norman, but you must get elected. I tell them, it's our people, you know, unfortunately. But we have to be elected, and we'll save this nonsense, because we'll repeal these laws, you see. They will be defended, these laws. By whom? Lawyers, of course, the prime culprit. 69 lawyers against the Prime Minister. Why? There's money in it. Before my case, my judgment, and he can back me up on this, there were 3 cases, pure heroin, kilo, you should know, just the head of my, all blacks. You see, just before I was condemned to, and they're all citing the European Court of Human Rights, and the lawyers pleading, arguing. Criminals, heroin, 1 kilo of pure hemp in one case. All blacks. Now, so the lawyers who defended them so passionately, who's paying them? Who's paying these lawyers? Where do they get the money? Of course, where do they get the money? From the EU, of course. Yeah, so there's business, you see. It's big business, this thing. Ask the NGOs. Ask the Jesuits whether this racket of immigration is good business. Of course it's good business. And the people pay. And the people pay not only in money, but in social problems and so on. So in that side of it, we back our Prime Minister when he said we're facing problems. And of course, we know that. We said it years ago at Safi. So this is it. Kibolla's bolla. Once I am in Europe, I'm going to say this, and you know I mean what I say. one of my unfortunate traits is that I am consistent. I'm not a politician in the strict sense of the word. Once I am there, all this nonsense will have to stop, because we will change Europe and will repeal. Our first move will be to repeal these hateful laws, where in Britain you can't even murmur anything. You'll be hauled to the police station. In Britain. It's the worst police state in the world. It's a gulag. Britain is a gulag, you see. You can't even murmur, show anything, because they'll hold you for racial hate. No, 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 we're going to free our people. Imperium Europa. We're going to free myself, my friends, if they are elected together with our European, we have friends all over the world. Don't think that.
Jekk il-daħal Malti ma jaħdux jeleġik fil-Parlament Ewropew, tikkonsidra li tikkontesta f'pajjiżi Ewropej oħra?
Good question. Jekk our people, naive people, do not elect us, first of all, they can enjoy the results. And their children. One thing. Secondly, I can offer myself in many. I only have to ask, you know, I'm received everywhere with great respect. Għaxumma l-Ewropej, Europeans, have this mystical notion of Malta. We have friends everywhere, Greece, Italy. I receive invitations to talk every month. But I refuse to be in Europe elected as a mercenary by another country. I expect my people to understand me, not the Italians or the French or the Germans or the Greeks. To me, it's a blemish li kolli nitla bħala mercenarju somewhere. I'm not Arnold Cassola, you know, I'm Norman Lowell.
Is-sitwazzjoni tal-lum rigward l-immigranti, x'inhu n-numru ta' immigranti li għadu jinbatuluna? Kemm huma dan?
Well, the Trickas was delighted that Europe took some 600, you know, 700 landed in the week she spoke, in 1 week. That was 5 years, and she was gloating that Europe has helped us take 600 or something. And nobody knows how many are here. I've met people at Malta Shira down in the south, you know, Shira, somewhere there. And they tell me, Norman, we see them in the early morning coming up by boat, silently, and they walk off. And nobody notices, you see, so we don't know. And we phone up the police. By the time the police come, that disappeared, because they've got a van waiting, you see. It's all organized. I've heard this so many times, because we have friends as well, you know, who keep us informed. But nobody knows how many of them are here, you see. And our people, to be economic, as you know, l-ekonomija għal più basso livello, għax it's not an economic problem, or it's a cultural problem, di sentil fuq kultura tagħna. But to speak economically, they are forcing our youngsters, one, to compete for the lowest wages, below the minimum wage, inkella jitlaq, għax indaħħal 2 or 3 minnhom, and not only that. They are actually a brake on progress. I'll tell you why. Because for a businessman who cares only about his profit and to hell with the country and our people, a businessman, if he's a rubbish collector, would rather employ 4 of these than invest in a super modern Swedish truck where everything is done properly, the collection of rubbish, but they cost a lot of money, these things, because they are specialized vehicles. So the traitorous businessman makes a better deal employing these with peanuts, you see, rather than investment. So they are actually, these people, illegal immigrants, I refuse to call them irregular, these are actually a brake to progress. They are hindering free enterprise. Because the businessman will always prefer better profit than aesthetics or greenery or pollution. These things don't matter to the businessman. You'll see they're callous, especially Maltese businessmen, who are, the newly rich, illiterate, most of them. You see, so this is a big problem. They are actually preventing Malta from progressing. Malta will become a Haiti in the Mediterranean in a few years' time if this tragedy keeps on unfolding. I think we've said everything.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your attention.
Yes,
Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yes, it's okay.
I'll have you, please. I charge.
Jiġbru il-press.
Oh, yes, yes.
U sentenza